Hi everyone. I guess this is a kind of not so important video, but I think it was necessary to make it. I hope everyone's having, first off, I want to begin by saying that I hope that everyone's having a proper quarantine and a safe time, and no one's getting that corona shit, which again right now it's getting worse and worse and worse, but at some point, hopefully it's gonna decrease, just like the flu back then, just like the Ebola, just like all that shit. I hope they get the fucking vaccine and all that. So hopefully they got that thing vaccinated soon. Anyways, a few quarantine updates. Yeah, what can I show? So just I don't recall if it was, no, I don't think it was yesterday. Let me check super quick. Was it yesterday? Because I don't believe it was. Again, I'm just, this whole quarantine thing. I sleep all the time, and I end up just, you know, forgetting about things. Um, I think it was yesterday actually. Must have been yesterday. So yesterday, making the I'm gonna just make it short. I received the package from Daniel. There's the Jemmy hip swinging Santa. Let me just turn it on. It's really nice. I like I like the way it moves. I don't know what exactly was going on. Maybe Daniel was using low batteries, but on his videos, the Santa was not moving properly. So I'm like, okay, must have been just dead batteries because it's perfect. I just had to realign a few things. I will have to clean it up whenever Christmas arrives again. I'm gonna probably leave that for then, even though it's not too convenient. But right now, it's not really, the heat is kind of going out, and we're going into the cold, climate. Should I call it? So pretty much, it is. This is something that I have to leave, and it has to dry up quickly. Which then again, I could probably fix. I could probably restore it when or clean it up, should I say, when we start using the little fireplace, the little gas powered fireplace that we have. Because again, that's gonna be quick. It's what I used to do with the robots last year. So yeah, probably that. Anyways, if you guys can see, there's a button that it doesn't have. It's because that one it never had it. And Daniel, what Daniel did was he put the tip of a flag on there, and it's actually was a kind of a good repair. But except for the fact he used hot glue, and the hot glue, of course, in that kind of cloth, you take it off, it rips the thing and it fucks it up. So in order to make it look properly, or to make it look good, it's gonna have to be a little bit more closed, just like it is right now, instead of a little bit more open, just like it's supposed to be. It's gonna look kind of like shit, but I'm not sure. I really hope I can straighten that up at some point. What I'm gonna do with the piece he used is sand it so it's only half a circle, and then try to print a little loop or something so I can stitch it through the fabric and everything, just like the top one that's original. Other than that, he did not include the screws, but that's not a big deal. He has them, and at some point he's going to probably send them to me, and that's fine. Right now it has four, two at each foot. Not really, I didn't bother looking for another two, but right now that's what it is. Anyways, as I said, I love the movement of these one two direction hip swingers. I mainly like it because it's just so fluid, comparing it to the others, which is just a continuous movement. It's just really fluid. So I just like that. I don't know. I think that action singers actually have something like that, because I sped up a video of this where it was glitching out. It was going like the sound was going slow, but the dancing was fine, and it literally danced like an action singer, like one of those dancing baby figures. So maybe they have the same mechanism. Shit, I don't know. Anyways, enough with that one. There's also it's down there, the ornament, the star ornament. I haven't even fixed it yet. Uh, It's got a really poor audio quality, even worse than my distorted and halfway fried ball. Because the ball I have, the purple ball that's right there, actually it's distorted, but you can somewhat hear it. On this one, it's really distorted. And I think that's legit. I mean, I think it's brand new. It wasn't removed from the box at any time. It's still, like, of course, it was taken off the box, but not removed from the insert. And it still isn't. Anyways, that's that. Those are those things. Thank you, Daniel. He also sent me a bunch of things. Daniel, stop sending me things that are pointless, because I kid you not, I'm running out of space, and I don't want to start putting things away. I don't want to start throwing things away, so just send me the things that have to do with toys and repairs, like parts and toys themselves, because I really don't have that much space anymore to put any Canadian merchandise and shit. Um, it's getting kind of bulky. Anyways, that's Daniel. That's the thing from Dan. Anyway, of course, I do have a few Christmas things here that are not put away and will probably not be put away because that's full, and I still have Christmas shit down there. Anyways, so the whole quarantine repair thing is going kind of nice. I think this was before, a little before they announced quarantine, but technically it is. I fixed up the Argentinian 4-spot. And a little earlier than that, I fixed up one of the my second robot Leo, which I had to design a bump and go piece to it. Really nice. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else here to show. I moved a few robots here just because I wanted to make a little space, and I made a little, but just a little. I also fixed up my multicolor cockroach infested Robot King, which I was really wanting to fix at some point. It's not complete yet. I'm gonna start designing the parts and printing them just in a red thing to be like a prototype-ish thing to see, okay, it looks fine, it works fine, that's it, and I'll save the cheat codes. So whenever I start getting filament again, I'm gonna start getting like yellow and some other colors that I need for specific robots, because this one has yellow missiles. So I'll have to print them in yellow. I do have the files and everything. They don't look like the originals. I was unable to recreate the curve that they have, but it's a little something for now. I also adjusted and fixed, or cleaned up, should I say, my last Saturn, the one that I bought from a really nice girl in the Fest that came with the Space Commander from last year. It was actually the same Fest from this one, so these two came in the same time. It just needed lubrication. I bent the walking shaft, or the Z-bar as we call it, so that it walks a little further steps, and it walks pretty good. I'm really happy with it. I also printed the missiles. Now, Randy Middleton. She's a robot repairist as well. She's one of my fellow collectors, should I say. And she made this one STL file off the Saturn missiles, or rockets. And of course, that wasn't enough to me, so what I ended up doing is modifying them, and I actually made them have several parts, instead of the just, the already known, it must be around here, maybe in the weapons. Instead of the already known one-piece missile that you have to paint, what I ended up doing is, I ended up separating this, and what I made is the tip that basically just hooks to this by a peg that this has. And then, of course, there's a peg in this other red part, and you pretty much have to assemble this thing in half. This prints in half, and then you have to put a ring on here. I was just unable to print, the thing with the little ring on it, and the missile hooking up correctly. It just didn't. It printed like shit, so I ended up just doing this, and it printed out really nice. It actually works. Here's the test. Pretty good, actually. I really like the thing. I don't know if I'll put it on Thingiverse or not, for some critical OCD people that really want to print it in the proper colors, just like me, but whatever. Anyways, those are the missiles, so thanks to that thing that Randy made, I'm gonna have my entire Camco collection with missiles. So other than that, all of these Camco things are gonna have their missiles. At least the ones that I get used and everything, um, are gonna have them. Like I only have two Camco robots. I have the original missiles, and those are the Cosmic Talking Robot and the Saturn, which is, well, the Chinatown Saturn from a lot of years ago, which I still will have to adjust and just roll a few things back. Other than that, that's it with those. So I put myself on the duty of restoring the three Saturns I own. The first one is already fixed. That one was the one that needed the least because, of course, it was still original. But then I have this one, which was my very first one. And I've had this one since like 7 years ago. It's always had missing parts, and I made a mess of a repair the first time. The second time was not any better. I ended up fucking up the plastic. I ended up putting, like, instead of the rivets, of course, I'm not going to put rivets, but I had to replace the switch, and I just did not like how it turned out. The plastic got melted. The piece over here was broken. I had to remake it with little wire, and then I had to melt PLA and just drop the thing on here. And I fucked up the feet as well. This one I fucked it up the worst, because both of them don't have the hooks anymore. They broke a long time ago, and this one's the one I tried prying open back in 2013, and it broke so much that I had to just remake it. This is literally melted PLA, this half, because there was nothing there. It was obliterated. And it's fucked up, I know, but I'm trying to do my best to get it back to how it used to be. I'm working on the antenna. I don't know how the fuck to print it anymore without it looking like shit. If I print it like this, I don't know why one half looks shorter than the other one, even though it's the same stupid piece, but mirrored. And I don't know why. My printer's so fucking stupid that it just fucks up like this. You guys can see the difference over there. I also printed the light holder for the chest, and it's a long story, but basically what I ended up doing back then was I replaced the original large bulbs it had with regular light bulbs, and as this one, the piece completely broke, what I ended up doing is I put pieces of cardboard in the eyes and in the chest. This is the one specifically for the chest, and I would just glue two regular light bulbs, and that was it. I also swapped the chest cylinders the first time. Well, not the first, yeah, the first time I had them both taken apart at the same time. Because these are the shittier Camco Saturns. The shitty Camcos pretty much, or well, shitty Saturns, are the ones, they have two eye patterns. The original eye pattern and the pattern like that one that's like a not spiral, but it's got like many small circles, and they have the small switch, and they're the ones made in China. Before those were actually made, I believe, either Taiwan or Hong Kong, somewhere of those, and they were better, and you can tell because the box is different. I know there's one version that actually has like the eyes. You cannot even see the pattern in the eyes. They're far too red. And then there's the other one where the thing is just different. The robot's at a different angle. And I think that was the one that set Vision toys in some cases. But it's basically this one. This is the first generation. And of course, what I'm going with this is that there's many differences. But one of them is that the cylinders are actually different. The cylinder of an original Saturn is way better and way more colorful than the other one. This is the cylinder of an original Saturn. You guys can see it's properly colored. It's not shit. The one from another Saturn, they are pinkish, bluish. They have a lot of colors, but they're really stupid and really abstract. Another thing I was able to tell is that even though, of course, the plastic is shinier, it's sturdier on this one. That's probably why this one, this one stood so well. But the other one, the plastic is not shiny. It's a little more rough. It's a little flimsier. What else? The chest, of course, the chest screen. The chest screen on these, the window piece, should I say, the glass, whatever that is, which I just lost where the fuck it is at. Oh dear. Oh, fuck it. Oh, there we go. Of course, it's shinier and it's actually more translucent than the remakes. The remakes, of course, have that really whitish plastic that you cannot see anything on. It doesn't amplify anything. It doesn't make any illusion, anything. On this one, it actually does. So those are a few differences, of course. Other than that, the larger, this one seems to be a little taller, just by a little bit, but that could pretty much be a stupid difference that doesn't really matter too much. But of course, this one has always had plenty of missing parts. The antenna was gone, which right now it's there, but this is not the official one. I want to print it in gray at least. The piece of course, the reason why this was all glued together was because it did not have the back piece that pretty much closes the faceplate, should I call it, and it holds the ears in place, kind of. Well, the ears hold it because it has two tabs, and it makes pressure against that once you close the head. So, you know, you cannot push it in all the way or pull it out. But that piece was missing, and the antenna was missing. So what I did was I just glued it like this, and I put a lot of glue, and it was just a mess. I had to just take all the glue off, clean it up again. At some point, I even put like silver Sharpie on there, because this was all dispainted. Again, a lot of issues that I will have to tackle. Of course, most of the flaps on this are broken. For example, this I just finished with the mechanism. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. Trust me. The flaps are all replaced. These did not require replacement. I replaced them last time back in 2015, but these required replacement. I cleaned up the motor. I replaced the brushes because it had those shitty. Because I even tampered with the motor, and the brushes were those simple shitty ass brushes that I hate so much. Because that's what I had at the time. So what I ended up doing is I just ended up putting a double brush motor back, and that's it. And I cleaned it up and everything. The original motor is a Mabuchi motor. I remember that, but the original piece maybe melted off or something. One of the sensors is one of the relays is original. One of the tins. This is the one for the screen, and this is the one for the eyes. And it took me so long to adjust them properly. One of the flaps even broke, and I had to solder it. I had to lubricate it and everything, and you guys can see it's so worn. The hole was actually slightly bigger, so I had to put the little loop of a switch. I had to solder it to the tin, so that goes to show just how fucked up that thing was. Even one of the flap, this is the only surviving original flap. At least that's until I close it. I have the feeling the second I just push it like that, it's gonna just break, and that's not gonna be really good. Other than that, of course, as I said, a month ago or something, I actually purchased these lights. So I could, I only purchased 4. So it could have been before I purchased the other Saturn. Maybe yes, maybe not. Actually, yes. It must have been after. I don't know why the hell I even purchased them, but pretty much I bought 4 of them. 2 of them already went to that Saturn because, believe it or not, both were actually burned. One, you would have to hit it a little bit for it to start working. The other one was just straight out burned. But as I said, this is pretty much the plate it's going to have. I might put it on Thingiverse in case somebody wants to repair the Saturn or something, but my main focus right now is the antenna. Other than that, the other foot is fine. It has the hooks broken, but it's a little better. It's not really as fucked. At least not that I know of. There's this thing, I made this because it would hit against this gear, and it would make like a really bad sound, and I don't know why. I still do not know why the hell it would hit against that, but it would. Anyways, what else do I have to say? Oh, of course, I still haven't fixed the hole from the side here because of 2 reasons. I don't have a proper red material to melt or to put in there. I've tried melting PLA just like with the black one, but believe it or not, it loses its color and it becomes a yellowish, disgusting thing. That it's disgusting. It's a yellowish, disgusting thing. And I've tried the same thing, but with those little straws from the oil cans, the spray things, which should be around here, that one that's like melted there, and still it just loses its pigment. So I don't know what the hell to do with that. I thought maybe I could just fill it up with hot glue and then just color it, but I'm looking for a better solution. So at some point I could probably rig some kind of little spoon or something attached to the iron tip over here and maybe melt the plastic and then just pour it there. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to leave that like that for now. It's not my first concern. Right now my concern, and the thing I actually did manage to do somehow, is remaking the battery terminals. Now the battery terminals, the thing about this is that I don't remember when exactly I got rid of the battery terminals. One just broke, and this one was the one that had the regular battery terminals, like the two straight pieces, not like the remakes where they have the spring and they have the other piece and the holders are slightly bigger. So I had to make something like that, and I ended up coming with this. I used to have this battery operated Panda Bear that I bought with the intent of repairing it, but once I took it apart, the plastic was just so brittle it was breaking apart, so I ended up scrapping the whole thing. And it has these bars that connect the front with the back legs, and to my surprise, well, why the hell does it have... Well, one's slightly shorter. It must have been because it moved the head as well, I think. I actually came up with the idea of cutting one and using it as the bottom contact. And of course, that's a little messy right now. That's actually a little messy. But I guarantee you that it's going to be a little better whenever I finish it up. That's for sure. But other than that, the other thing I did with it, of course, let me just show this a little bit because... Of course, the issue that showed up, this is pretty much what's going to be the top contact, or both top contacts. It's the closest I have to the original. It has that little tab on the back that's going to be bent and it's going to be cut, of course. And it's pretty much going to go like this. And I'm going to solder the wire and everything, and the battery fits just fine. And I'm glad that the battery actually fits fine in either position, which isn't really a good thing, but it's what I have at the moment. And then again, even with the original, I think it was like that too. But pretty much, as you know, I know for a fact that these adapters are slightly longer just by a little bit, so it's always a little, tight fit. I was like, yeah, this is not enough. So what I ended up doing is I soldered two pieces of copper, one on top of the other one. You guys can see them because one's at the bottom. And this is pretty much what's going to make the contact. Again, this is going to go through vinegar. I'm going to remove that flux left over. I'm going to just try to make it the cleanest. This has already been washed. But once I have this thing settled, it's going to get washed again. So I have zero dirt, zero dust, zero anything. Okay, I'm really obsessive with that. And I really want this thing to be clean once and for all. I don't believe I'm going to do anything for the battery cover, though. I really don't want to. That's going to be for a future project, maybe. Here's the switch, which is a combination. This is not the original switch. The original switch was way more red. This is a switch from a mini jumbo jet from Weimei that I bought years ago thinking it was something brand new, but then I realized it was an old stock. And I was like, why the fuck did I break them? I had two of them. I have both, I had two blue ones, one with a gray head, one with a, the driver head. And that was back in 2011. So I joined both switches as I could, and I just put that. So of course, as I said, what I ended up doing back then, as I didn't have the battery compartment contacts, was I just stuck this 4 AA battery thing in there. This is pretty much one of those remote control things. But of course, this right now is going to hell. That piece of shit is no longer haunting my Saturn. But yeah, other than that, once I get the other contact and once I get the things properly settled, I'll try with a legitimate D battery, and this thing's going to be cleaned up again. I'll see if I can print, because no matter how I printed it halfway, it turned out like this. I printed it one single half, and the little ball on top, it looks deformed. So I'm trying to achieve the proper look. And then I'll probably do it in gray. Other than that, that's practically it. So this robot should be done by tomorrow, probably. I'm not too positive on when, but that's it. And of course, right after that one, even though I hate to do like these things all together, I'll have to do that one. And once I do that one, the nightmare's over, and I can continue with some other fucking robot that needs repair. This one is on a hold right now. It's clean and everything. This is Robbie the Talking Robot. That's the legitimate name. I have the diagram and everything, but you can talk through it and everything. It has a cable that has 8 wires inside, and I gotta get a joystick wire or a Sega controller, you know, a Sega Genesis controller thing, because the original cable, all the wires were cut in different spots, and by the time some of them started being fine, and the rest were still cut, even though they were still cut, the wire was too short. So I'll just try to rig something, and once I have that, I'll make a video of it, because this is a really interesting one, and one I've been wanting to do stupid shit with for a long time. Um, Other than that, I don't know if I should go with the Poochies. The other, you know, these are the two light purple Poochies that I gotta fix. One does not emit the IR, and it's got a broken gear somewhere, and the other one, this is the only one that ever made sound of all the ones I got. Other than that, that's practically it. So, that's practically it. So, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do next, but whatever I do next... Oh, another update, of course. Now the battery covers, the weapons, and the armors are here just to make a little space in what I can with the robots that don't have a box. So, I'm not removing the pieces that are actually screwed. I'm just removing the parts that you can take off, like the battery covers and the accessories, like the weapons, the armors. That's why these no longer have the shoulders on them. And a bunch of others, like they don't have the sword, the guns, anything that's pointy or that makes an extra little space bit, it's gone. Because I don't really want to, you know, even these, all of these don't have the battery covers. The helicopter one doesn't have the tail, of course. It would be unfittable. These do because it's the hinge thing, but the other ones don't. And the one from Kevin doesn't. Both Kevin and Daniel's. The one from Kevin doesn't have the wings nor the sword, and Daniel's doesn't have the sword. This one doesn't have the battery cover either. These do, because I haven't figured what to do with them yet. These don't. I do have, let's see, no, this one I don't. This one I do have the battery cover for it. And this is the Spanish one, so I do have the battery cover. But yeah, that's practically it. So, more quarantine boredom videos coming soon with a little spiciness. So, that's practically it.